Welcome everyone to the Self Connection with Ginny Brown and Kelly Pietro, where we have conversations with a group of ascended masters known as the multitude of the greater good.
Yes, this group, known as the multitude of the greater good, is a group of ascended masters, healers, and teachers, and they have access to information from the day of creation to the present time, plus whatever it is that you have wished to accomplish in this lifetime. So they will basically work with questions, and they answer questions based on the information from day of creation to the present, plus the information on what one has wished to accomplish.
So I'll ask the questions and Ginny will channel the answers.
I will.
All right, so my first question today is if the multitude can enlighten us on creation stories. So a lot of religions have creation stories, science has creation story like the Big Bang. And then also it's like humanity, like how did humans come to be initially on this planet? So I would love to hear, and of course, my curiosity would love to understand time in our current time space understanding, and events.
So you have within that about 6 different questions in there.
I know. Okay, so let's narrow it down.
And one at a time.
Okay, so let's ask, how did Earth come to be?
It is important to understand that Earth came to be just as everything else came to be. There is an energy, and the energy is interested in creation. And that energy is interested in expanding itself in a higher and greater way. Therefore, it is creating ways in which to expand itself. One might call it God, one might call it source, one might call it the universe. Does not matter what one calls it. What is important is that each one understand that there is a universal energy that is wishing and willing to create, it's like in a loving way, to create and accomplish higher and greater adversities of being in such a way as to allow the all that is to complete its process as well. Do not be concerned. When one is looking forward to allowing oneself the knowledge that is encompassed within one's heart, one is able to move forward from that place. However, there are those that can only use their mind at this moment, and it is important to understand that sometimes there are things that are incomprehensible on the mind level and only can be understood on the heart or feeling level. And when one is able to allow oneself the ability to understand that there is more to oneself than meets the eye, one is able to allow the all that is to step in. We would highly recommend that you not be so concerned about the beginning or the end, as there was no beginning and there is no end. Do not be concerned, all is love.
Okay, so follow-up question, even though they've told me not to be concerned. I'm not concerned, I just want to know.
Well, sometimes when they say do not be concerned, it's like a lot of the times as things are going to happen as each one moves and feels and changes themselves, and things happen not only by one's actions, things happen because of who one is. So it's like when they say don't be concerned, it's about these processes that we are not necessarily aware of on the mind level are going to happen anyway. So
Got it. Okay. Also, we don't have control over it, so why worry?
exactly.
Okay, so what about then the beginning of humanity? How did humans come to be on this planet in this current time space.
It is important to understand humans are part of the creative process. The source of all, the energy of being, had decided that there had to be a better way in order to allow oneself the growth that one was looking for. Therefore, that creator decided it was right to have some help. And the best way to do that was to populate the areas of being, whether it be Earth, whether it be stars, whether it be anything at all other than the energetic sense of self. Therefore, the energetic sense of self decided that humanity was one way to accomplish that. Humanity, as well as, it's like what we might call aliens, other beings on other planets or star energies or anywhere. It is important to understand that the highest and greatest goal of source energy is the creation of a higher and greater source energy. Therefore, source energy looks to expand itself, and humanity was one way to do it.
Okay, so they said something about that creator, and what came to mind was, well, what other creators are there? Are there other creators?
It is important to understand that source energy can do whatever it is that it wishes and create what it is that what I'm seeing, it's like a hierarchy. When you have a company, you have the president, and then you have the directors, and you have each level under that. When source energy decided to create itself differently, it decided it needed some help. Therefore, it put certain energies inside, certain energies in charge of certain ways of being. Therefore, one might call them creators, one might call them assistants, does not matter. They are just part and parcel of the creative process. In our estimation, there is more to that than meets the eye. However, those on the earth plane cannot understand with their earthly minds. Do not be concerned, all is love.
Okay, did you get the sense as you were channeling that answer that there's more than one creator?
I've heard there's more than one creator, so I don't know if I got the sense, but
Yeah, I feel like they didn't quite answer that. It like what I got was like the hierarchy, there's the one source and then trickle down, but are there more of those out
more.
there? More singular source, or does it all come from one? There's so many again, like I was reading something where someone was claiming that aliens created the humans, right? And then we have the Christian narrative that God took, like created man and then created Eve out of man, like, and then there's science that talks about some scientific explosion. I mean, with all of those, well, maybe not the alien theory, but this idea that there was this oneness that wanted to experience more than oneness, and then it divided itself where it, like as they were saying, put aspects of itself into other things, like into the plants, into the minerals, into the humans, into the other life forms. Yeah, guess I'm still not satisfied. But to their point, we can't comprehend it with our human minds. So do not be concerned, all is well, all is love.
It is important to understand that one looks at things on the earth plane in a very different way. The perspective is quite different. When one inquires of source energy, how it is broken down, how it is that source energy defines itself, it is inexplicable to the earth mind. We can tell you there are many ways for source energy to expand itself. while remaining in control of itself. Therefore, it is important to understand that the phrase all is one comes from that theory. However, all on the Earth plane, or like other planets or wherever else one chooses to believe aliens reside, it's still all part of source energy. Therefore, each one is an extension of the higher source. However, in the capacity of each one, and they're living on the earth, so to speak, or any other place, they are separate beings, all with earth, all with source energy. That is where the term all is one comes from. However, it cannot be true on the earth plane as one understands separation to be. It can only be energetically connected, where on the earth plane, each one is a separate being, a separate knowing of self, a separate idea and ideal. However, the energy of each one is connected to source. Therefore, in that respect, each is all is one. In our estimation, source energy is the one. Source energy allows itself to expand and multiply. And when it does, it creates all different entities and energies as part of itself. Therefore, we would highly recommend that you understand that there are those parts on the earth plane that can be misconstrued as understanding that each one on the earth plane is one, all is one. However, it is not. Each one is individual and separate on the earth plane. However, the energy of each one is connected to source energy, and that is the part that is all is one.
Well, it's interesting because I think that like on some level we do understand that we are all one on an energetic sense, and right now playing out in the collective narrative, at least in our country, there's so much division, but also there's division because I think people are trying to put people in boxes as small collectives, right? But in doing so, dishonoring the individual, that the individual has its own individual path. And if you put them in a box, you almost limit them. So I think we hear this all the time in spiritual discussion, like we're here to experience duality and separation. We are source experiencing separation of, not separate, it's the duality of self. And we experience that through the separation, right? Through a physical separation. You're there, I'm here, but we're both energetically source, but we're source experiencing itself through duality and separation.
Right.
Interesting. Okay, so I don't know that this is a good segue, but it's on my list of wanting to talk about this is artificial intelligence.
Okay.
And like, I guess I don't have a question yet, so I'm just going to talk until a question forms. And same for you, if you have anything, help us. But I mean, is it actually artificial, or is there, like, I often think of, I actually did go into ChatGPT and ask this question, like, are these forms of AI capable of tapping into the collective unconscious in order to gain intelligence, gain wisdom, perpetuate itself? And there's all sorts of opinions on, is this some of the brightest minds and the discovering minds of AI are the ones saying like it's going to destroy humanity, which feels like come on. But also they're pretty bright, so you got to pay attention to them, right? So maybe, I guess the question could be, could the multitude enlighten us when it comes to artificial intelligence? What do they have to say about it?
It is important to understand that artificial intelligence is not artificial at all. The intelligence comes from the information that humans have fed into it's like the data bank, the machine, the ability to allow itself to grow is enormous. It will continue to grow. However, it will not grow to the point where it will begin to take over another's intelligence. Therefore, it is important that the highest and greatest minds on the earth plane allow itself to stay in an area of honorability. And if it is that one chooses to disband itself in a way that allows others to be hurt or compromised, that is up to the human feeding it the information. If it is that it is left on its own, it cannot create or procreate, as it is not, it's like it's not the ability of the data in order to do that. It is the ability of the human to program it in such a way as to allow it to multiply. In our estimation, however, one can add such information as to make it seem as it's like the data is increasing itself, the data is expanding itself, the data is turning on itself. However, it can only do that if humans add the data to the data bank. Do not be concerned. There are those on the earth plane who believe that, yes, aliens, so to speak, or beings other than from the earth plane are in charge of AI. We can tell you in our estimation, they would like to be, but they are not. We can also tell you if it is that the earth plane should feed such information into AI to become damaging to the greater self, it will be stopped in its tracks, as those beings that one considered to be aliens are far more intelligent than those on the earth plane, and they know when, how, and why to stop it before it gets to be the demise of the earth. Do not be concerned, all is love.
Okay, so they were reading my mind just now, because you hear things like, oh well, because there's a lot of fear right now with Putin, kind of being erratic, that he might, set off a nuclear explosion, and then you hear in the spiritual community, oh, the aliens won't allow that to happen. So as they were talking about this, I wondered, like, well, is there truth to that aliens won't let a nuclear explosion happen, which I would love for them to answer. But it does give this sense that we're being watched over. What, you're getting something?
I just got, they've already stopped 3 of them. It is important to understand that nuclear would be one way that the earth could destroy itself. Therefore, the earth is in no way ready to allow itself to be destroyed. Therefore, earth takes a great part in dismantling the nuclear capability of many of the items that are being created. Do not be concerned. If it is that there is a nuclear bomb, so to speak, and as you know, there are, and if it is that one should be set off, it will go nowhere. That's good to know. That's interesting.
That's comforting.
It'll be stopped in its tracks.
Okay, so this gives this feeling that like some alien life form is looking after us and takes some sort of interest in our collective well-being.
It is important to understand it is source energy that is looking after everyone and uses, as you have asked about creator, different creators, creator
Mhm.
energy. The creator energy of the alien, so to speak, source that is tasked with overseeing the earth plane. They are the ones who will help the earth plane. They are the ones who will step in and declare things irrelevant as the earth plane is interested in preserving itself and calls in help when it is needed.
Okay, so that's like the higher level view, and I totally get that. But if we could come down just a couple notches, what is their unique race? What is their interest in our planet then? I understand creators' interest because we are all one and the energetic call to it, but like come down a few notches and tell me like why is that alien race interested? What is their benefit from us?
It is important to understand we are the ones with the high level energy, high level information, and it is quite difficult for us to get down to the nitty gritty, so to speak. It is, however, important to understand each one has their jobs, each one has their interests, each one has their goals based upon source energy's goals. Therefore, if source energy decides that the earth needs help, source energy decides who will help and why. It is not based on one individual category helping another individual category. It is based on source energy's need to expand itself, and source energy is the director of the scenario. Do not be concerned. All is love.
Okay, well, I did not expect today to go like this, by the way, Ginny. But it's fun, so we'll
They
keep playing
have a mind of their own. They know what.
for sure. Well, let's keep playing in the sandbox. We might as well. Let's talk about crop circles because that's when people think about aliens, I think about crop circles. So I guess I'm looking for validation that they are created by alien life form, but I'm also wondering what is the purpose? Are those formations a way of communicating to humans certain knowledge or information, or are they patterns created because they are simply visiting, or some people say there's energy underneath the earth's surface that they can gain by coming into contact with that area, or are humans just creating crop circles?
It is important to understand crop circles can be created in a myriad of ways. Some are done by humans, some are done by so-called aliens, and some just appear as it's like as that is the energy that is created around them. However, we can tell you there is no direct need or consequence for, of, and or about a crop circle. It just is. In our estimation, crop circles create a focus point for those engaged in higher education, in higher knowledge, in higher knowing to communicate and collaborate. And that is the gift of crop circles, communication and collaboration. That is why they are created in the first place. In our estimation, it does not matter who creates them or how they're created. It just matters that it brings people together in knowledge, love, care, and understanding. And that is the goal.
Okay, so that makes a lot of sense, right? Because when I'm on one of these Facebook crop circle things, just because it's interesting to me, like these patterns. A lot of them are like sacred geometry patterns, and oh, where was I going to go with that? Oh, so like there's a greater awareness, and like so therefore more questioning about, well, what else is out there? So, and then lately there's a lot of chatter about, I don't follow this stuff, Ginny, but like some of my friends do. So that's how I end up hearing about it. Um, there seems to be a lot of chatter out there that disclosure is coming, right? Like the government is sharing more about the truth about aliens. And so my question is that true? Are we coming into a time where alien life form is becoming accepted by humans? And not only that, but will we begin to, in a more expansive, collective, larger way, begin collaborating with alien life form?
It is important to understand that it has already begun. There are those who look different, who have a different intelligence, who have a higher gift, so to speak. However, each one is energy, and each one expands itself in the best way it can. If it is that the earth, so to speak, is ready, then it will allow itself to make communication with other beings. However, at this moment, other beings are not compatible with Earth's energy. Earth needs to allow itself to expand its energy in a higher and greater way before it is ready to be compatible with the higher energetic beings. We can tell you that there are those who believe that the aliens, so to speak, are negative energies, negative entities. It is all part and part of the duality that you spoke of earlier, part and parcel of the part of oneself that is wishing to learn and wishing to expand, and the other part that says, no, I'm happy where I am. I don't want to know more. So you have those who want to know more and those who don't want to know more. And therefore, the aliens cannot communicate in that type of energy. When it comes to the place in one's heart, then one is quite aware that one will be fine regardless of alien energy. Each one will allow itself to be open to that which is different from themselves. Therefore, we would highly recommend that one allow oneself to know that there are higher and greater energetic beings, not necessarily aliens, so to speak, but higher and greater energetic beings in connection with source energy differently, therefore allowing itself to gain and attain greater information on a different level. Those on the earth plane are in process of allowing themselves to gain and attain the abilities to access higher energy. However, at this moment in time, there is no need to be concerned, alarmed, or upset in any way about an alien invasion, an alien communication, or an alien possibility in our estimation. There are those others, higher levels, energies in being, in process, and sometimes they do come to Earth, and sometimes they do allow themselves to make contact. However, those whom they make contact with are those who are open to their abilities of being. In our estimation, there is no need for fear, as there are those of a negative understanding. There are those of a negative ability. However, when they come to the earth plane, their powers are not viable. They are, it's like, it reminds me of the old Superman stories with the kryptonite. and the
Oh, yeah.
and it kind of deadens the power of Superman. But the Earth acts like kryptonite to those negative aliens. Do not be concerned. There are those aliens who are in disagreement with other aliens, just like those on the Earth plane are in human beings in disagreement with other human beings, some physically, some mentally, and some just in disagreement. We can tell you when there is a negative alien energy, the only, it's like the only connection it will have or interface it will have is with other alien energy. Do not be concerned, all is love.
Juicy. I love all this. It's so fun. Okay. Okay, so this, I don't know if we talked about this in another episode, but it's coming up. I guess for me, like I am a truth seeker. And so I can feel when truth is not present. And so that's why I ask these questions, because I want to know the truth around it. And there's so much narrative in the broader spiritual, I hate to say spiritual community, because we're not really a community. Let's just call it a box. People who are sharing within that realm. Not that I want to put anyone in boxes, just that bothers me too. But anyway, I'm getting off track. There's a lot of discussion about 3D, 4D, 5D, ascended, when I ascend to 5D. And it's like, there's this belief of like, oh, when the human race ascends to 5D, then we'll be at the same vibration as aliens. And so, and some people are there already. Some people are already in 8D. And so these human understandings of different dimensional realities versus the truth about it, and how humans can exist within those dimensions or not. I would love the multitude to speak to that. Did I ask a clear enough question? I don't know.
No, because I'm not getting anything.
Yeah, okay. Let me see if I can craft it. Well, I think I had to say that anyway for our listeners. Can the multitude speak to the truth around different dimensional realities, such as third dimensional reality, fourth dimensional reality, fifth dimensional, all the way on up? I don't know how many there are. Maybe they can tell us how many there are. Can they speak to the truth about what it means to exist in those dimensional realities?
It is important to understand that a dimension is just the name for one's level of energetic connection with oneself. When one is able to raise the energy within oneself to a higher level of connection with oneself, then one is able to connect with other energies of the same energetic level. It does not matter if it's called 3D, 4D, 5D, they are just earth plane differentiations. When one allows oneself to be open to the energy of oneself, one allows oneself, it's like to accede at the accession, the ability to move one forward within oneself to a higher and greater understanding of self. When it is that one decides it is right for one to be in 3D, one is in 3D. When one decides it's right to be in 4D or 5D, one will work on raising one's energy in order to allow oneself to communicate with oneself differently. We would highly recommend that you understand that the energy is always available. It is always there. It is just it's like the earth mind allowing itself to expand itself to accept the energy that one knows in one's heart that is already available. Therefore, when one says, oh, I'm in 4D or I'm in 5D, it is a matter of a mental, just a mental label for one, where one believes one is, regardless of where one is. When one is able to allow the energy, one allows the energy and one grows and goes. And in our estimation, there is no label requirement. There is only the open-heartedness of the person who is interested in allowing itself the growth. In our estimation, there are those on the earth plane who believe many things, and most of those things are incorrect. Do not be concerned, all is love.
Yeah, like what comes to mind as you're saying that is like when you and I are catching up before we hit record, like, hey, how was your weekend? Like, that's a pretty dense vibration because we're talking about like earthly matters.
Right.
But also we're talking about the past. So there's the dimension of time, space, like versus the now. The now is like being fully present is like one vibration, let's call it one dimension. And then talking about the past or the future is like another dimensional, like your in other words, your mind opens up and expands. And then if we were to connect to like a past life, for example, now your mind is expanded even more beyond this three-dimensional reality. Like you have perspective on, I don't know. I think I'm drawing off of another teacher right now, and I'm probably not explaining it really well how I understand it. But like when you channel and you're accessing the all that is, I feel like you have to be at a pretty, like a much different vibration, and humans would call it a higher vibration, right? In order to channel that information, because it's coming from all over and places we don't even understand. Yeah, so I like the idea that like we're just trying to label it. Our human mind wants to understand it, so we label it and we put a hierarchy on it. But I think we can go in and out of those, let's call them dimensions, based on any moment we switch our awareness. Right? Do you think?
I think it's not always based on awareness, because I think that happens regardless. It depends on how we live and what we're doing at the time as to how we open to that energy. I don't think you have to be aware to open to the energy.
Yeah, that's a better way of putting it. Yeah.
Yeah. In our estimation, my dear, it is interesting that you are asking this question as you are allowing yourself to be in and out of your awareness all the time. You allow the awareness to be when it is that you are asking for it to be. And then you are blocking your awareness as it is that you move through your day. In our estimation, we would highly recommend that you not block it at all. Just allow yourself to be where you are when you are. And when it is that you can say, oh, okay, this is what I need to fix for dinner tonight, for instance. And then you say, okay, while I'm fixing dinner, I will be open to the information that comes. Therefore, you are in a space of doing and a space of being. And when it is that one can be in a space of being, no matter what one is doing, it is how one moves oneself forward. When one says, oh, I am fixing dinner now, I can't concentrate on anything else. It's important to understand that it is not necessary for one to concentrate on anything else, because when one is fixing dinner and open to the energy is there regardless. It is just a matter of one being open to the energy and not necessarily in the mind self, just allowing oneself to be who one is when one is. In our estimation, it is right for you to be questioning this, as this is exactly where you are at the moment.
Yeah, and I think that just before COVID, I was in a constant state of openness because I would be cooking dinner and things would just drop in like every now moment. It almost felt like a little overwhelming, to be honest. Um, it was just before COVID hit. And I remember like I was in a really good place.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, it's a discipline to get back there. Or maybe it's not a discipline. I don't know. I would love some advice, like if they have anything for me as far as a practice or and I'm asking selfishly, but it's gonna be for everyone, good advice, I'm sure, for everyone, as I know they work that way, to get back to that place and to get into a more open state of awareness. I know they're gonna tell me to meditate, but okay, I'm ready.
Yeah, not always, Cal. It
Yeah,
is
that's true.
important to understand it is how one's belief system operates. If one believes there is a problem, there is a problem. If one remains open to that part of self that says, okay, this is where I am now, and this is where I will be later, and right now I just am where I am, then one is open to the energetic allowance of one's being. If it is that one says, oh, I am fixing dinner now, I don't have time for anything else, one closes off that connection. When it is that one says, oh, I'm fixing dinner and I am allowing myself to be who I am, one allows one's connection with oneself to remain open as the information comes from oneself in connection with the all that is, in connection with source energy. And when one allows oneself to remain open to source energy, one allows the information to drop in, so to speak, as in reality, one is in connection with one's higher self, highest self, ability to connect self, all the time. It is important to understand that when one is in that connected self all the time, one can allow it or disallow it. And when one disallows, one believes there is a block. When there is no block, there is just that part of self that says, oh, not now, I'm too busy. Oh, not now, I can't handle it. Oh, not now. When it is that one is open to saying, this is where I am right now, and I am just where I am right now, there is the ability to allow the information to flow. Do not be concerned, all is love.
Okay, good. So if they could debunk this for the record, I think a lot of people will say things like, "Oh, well, I was, I'm walking around so open. I have to close it down in order to be protected and safe from any nefarious energies that might enter my field, and I become victim to because I'm left open." If they could debunk that, I would love that.
It is important to understand one allows oneself to be protected or unprotected. However, it is done on the energetic level. When one believes there is a problem, there is a problem. If one says, oh, I am allowing myself the protection of being, I am allowing myself the protection of love, I am allowing myself that part of me that knows who I am, there is no need to open or close anything. The energy is just there. In our estimation, when one believes they need to be protected from another's energy or some other energy, the issue resides with one's own heart self that believes that one is not enough. When one understands that one has allowed oneself the protection required without asking for additional, it's like asking for additional protection, which I believe is okay to ask for. But in my estimation, my dear, it is important that you understand that it is important to allow oneself to allow the protection that has been established for oneself by oneself before coming to the earth plane. When one believes one can be harmed by those energies around, one is not quite sure of who one is or why one is. One can only see that there are those dangers around one. When one can say, okay, which I get all the time, took me a long time to learn, I am safe and well protected. When one understands that one on the earth plane is safe and well protected because one has arranged that for oneself before coming to the earth plane, then one will be able to move forward without believing that they have to open or close, as there is no such thing as open or closing to an outside energy. The energy that one connects to is one's own energy. And when one is open to one's own energy, one allows the information to flow, the protection to flow, and the integration of being to flow. Therefore, in our estimation, it is important that you understand that there are those parts of self that have experienced negativity, those parts of self that will experience negativity. However, it has nothing to do with the opening or closing of one's energetic self. In our estimation, it is right that you understand there are many ways to access this energy and many ways to close off this energy. But in our estimation, when one is open to one's self's own heart energy, one is safe and well protected no matter what, and all is love.
Okay, so then when psychically sensitive people walk into a room and they feel the energy is off, what they're actually sensing is something within themselves.
When it is that one walks into the room and allows oneself to feel that energy, it is allowing oneself the energetic ability to feel an incompatible energy. It does not mean that that incompatible energy is negative. It does not mean that it is detrimental. It just means it is different from what one believes is compatible with oneself. We would highly recommend that one understand that there are those abilities to connect and it's like disconnect oneself from those things that are not in one's compatibility. However, it is important to understand that that energy belongs to another. And if it is that one is interested in taking it on, they may have a problem. However, if one is quite sure of who one is and quite secure in their own energy, it will not matter what another's energy is. And that person will allow itself, himself, herself to be who she is. And when it is that one is quite secure in who they are, they will allow others to be who they are without the it's like
Interference.
butting heads, without the dissension that one might believe could be there. In our estimation, it is quite right for each one to feel what is disharmonious with oneself, as that is one's way of it's like protection, but it's also knowing how to move oneself forward and the best way to experience one's own ability of being. Do not be concerned, all is love.
Okay, so that makes so much sense to me. And it also brings a lot of peace. It's interesting, like, I'm like still processing all of that because there was so much in there. So like you could walk into a space and feel that disharmony, and then your brain can get in the way and be like, oh my gosh, there's negative energy here. I need to do something about it. I need to clear it. Or you can say, you can tune into that and say, yeah, this isn't for me. I'm out. Right. Or you can say, yeah, this isn't, I don't really like the energy, but I'm strong enough in my own knowing that I can still be in the room with that energy and know I'm safe and protected, and just kind of tune it out. Let it be it. Let me be me. that kind of thing, right? But it's interesting that the human wants to, a lot of people want to do something about it. We need to clear this. We need to, smudge the room, set up a crystal grid, do some sort of healing to the soul who's created this energy. I'm guilty of this, you know. But what I heard the multitude say is to allow that energy to be, and for you to allow yourself to be and know you're protected is like, it's like almost like do nothing.
Now, the distinction that I'm getting though with that is the energy of other people in the room,
Okay.
and the other being energies of the energetic in the room. Now, if you have an energetic, being or an energetic something that is incompatible, that needs to be cleared, that's one thing. But if you have the energy of a person who is not compatible with you, that's where the allowance comes in. You allow yourself to be you, you allow them to be them. And when you allow yourself to be you, you allow the energy of you to expand in such a way as to bring forth you. But when it is that there is an energetic being in the room that is incompatible, then there is an ability to ask it to leave, to ask it if it wants help, to ask it what it needs, to clear it in some way.
Okay, that's good to know. That, yeah, I like that.
Because
And
I can give you an example. There is a friend of mine who had an energy in her room. I don't know which room, but in one of her rooms. It was in the corner and it just kind of stayed there. So she asked me if, what that was. So I went and I had a conversation with that energy. And it was like, it was not a negative energy. It wasn't there to do harm. It was needing, I think it really believed that it didn't have the power on its own to leave. So we had a conversation and I said, well, you have the power, you can do what you want. And the next time I talked to her, like a couple minutes later, she said that energy was gone. Sometimes the energies are not necessarily negative. They are just kind of, that's where I would say stuck would come in. They don't realize they have the power to move themselves out of the situation and say into the light or wherever it is that they need to go.
so I'm curious whether it's your opinion or the multitude. I've had similar experiences where, a friend would report a ghost, right? And when I tune into the energy, the sense I got in this particular instance was like, I worked with that energy, but it was like on the soul, I don't know, these are human words, right? But on the soul level, that like this, there was once a human that experienced tragedy in that spot. And this was centuries ago, but there's like an energetic imprint left there. And I don't know if it's not part of their soul, but in other words, healing was needed on the soul level. And as kind of offered the way towards healing, I got this sense that this soul was incarnated currently somewhere else, kind of asking for help. And this is how it kind of came up. But that there was kind of like a vibration that attracted this vibration of, it was like helplessness, hopelessness in that spot because of other things that happened in that spot. And then the family living there now was now carrying that energy. And so it kind of magnified it. And so it felt like clearing layers of this one vibration. Did I ever tell you that story?
No, but it seems to me that that family that's living there now had the vibration of that to attract it to it.
Yeah.
Itself to that. So the family needs to clear their energy
Well, so I did that too. I don't know that I was super effective, because I can sense it's, but I think to have cleared it in the layers,
Right.
was helpful to not let the family feel so extra about it, like they were resonating with that vibration of helplessness in a disproportionate way of what you might think of what's going on in their life. Do you see what I'm saying? But because it was magnified by that vibration that existed in that point, in that place at one point.
So
That
you
makes
have
sense?
a question with that?
I mean, you're always looking for validation, but yeah, so maybe is it true that a place can hold a trauma vibration that when someone with a similar vibration enters that space, it would be magnified and felt deeper?
It is important to understand that those vibrations are there in order to help the others grow. Those who are attracted to that vibrational energy are seeking healing in one way or another. Therefore, they are attracting it in order to magnify their own feelings and their own inability to be who they are, in order to allow the healing to come and heal themselves. And sometimes it comes with the help of others, and sometimes it comes from them opening their hearts to themselves and allowing the energy to heal and clear themselves in their own way. The energetic vibration, like held in the ground, that part is pure conjecture. It is only something that one believes in order to validate their own feelings of insecurities about what it is that they need to take care of, what their healing is about. Therefore, they believe that it is in the earth, in that spot, in that energy. Therefore, it is inconsequential to the earth, however, quite important to them.
Interesting. Good to know.
Yeah,
I gotta process that one.
yeah.
I love how the multitude just simplifies things. Like we complicate so much
Yeah,
understanding of things. I think, but understanding it in a complicated manner is sometimes the thing that propels us forward and allows us to accept certain things so that we can move forward. And then you eventually learn, like, oh well, I never really, I don't need that anymore because I've outgrown that way of thinking.
but that's the way energy works too, is that I don't need that anymore. And if you
Yeah.
can focus on the feeling part of self and allow that to expand, then you will allow that feeling part of self to heal itself. That is how it works. Do not be concerned. We are most pleased that you have come to that conclusion.
Took me long enough. Well, now, of course, well, we'll talk more one-on-one after this. I'm like, oh, I got to change a lot of things.
Or just
Huh?
allow, maybe, or you just have to allow them.
No, I'm thinking about my class.
Oh,
Certain teachings have this, and it's funny because I even said to my students, the last go round, I don't know if I'm going to teach this again. I'm like, why not? The world needs us. I'm like, because I don't know that I believe in it anymore. And they're like, but it helps people to understand so that they can move forward. And I'm like, but is that inauthentic to teach it or put it out there even as a teaching? But I do make the disclaimer in the first class, like by the end of the class, you'll realize you need none of this. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Like, we're going to learn a lot of stuff. And then at the last class, you're going to realize you didn't need any of it. So I have an internal struggle about that because every time I sit with you in the multitude, I learn more and outgrow things.
I think it's most important that people understand that they need to open to themselves. And it's like, as they say, an inside job. All
Yeah.
the work is done on the inside. And as you heal yourself on the inside, you change what's around you on the outside. I think that's an important thing to understand.
Yeah, for sure.
So,
Wow. What a session.
yeah, we covered a
We-
lot.
We traversed the universe. Maybe not all of it, but we went into outer space and went to AI. That was cool.
And we went to the Earth's vibration. So we went from outer space to inner space.
Yeah. Ooh, maybe we can talk more like about the Earth's core and everything next time. I'll make a note.
Well, it's fun.
But
I always enjoy doing this.
me too. And I love, again, I love that the multitude simplifies things. Like, I really love when they debunk things.
Yeah.
Because there's so much worry around what we humans try to make understanding of things, and then it create like AI. Everyone's and aliens, everyone's so scared of alien invasion or AI is gonna kill humanity. Like, I have such peace hearing that part of me like felt the untruth of it, but sometimes just hearing it from the multitude brings like a finality to it.
Because you felt the truth, but the mind was telling you other things.
Oh yeah, my mind gets
I
more
was
fun.
told long ago, because I asked, well, why am I doing this? What, why? And one of the answers I got was to clear up a lot of things that are mistruths, that are not true, to bring in the right, correct information. So.
Well, it's funny because, I just did that archetypes class with Andrea and discovered that one of my big purposes here is to seek truth. So of course you and I would find each other.
Yep, exactly. And it
So,
works well, right?
yeah, and we have fun doing it. So,
All right.
all right. Well, thanks everyone for watching.
Yeah.
And until
Join us
next time,
Yeah,
keep expanding.
exactly. It's all an inside job.
Yeah.
Take care, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.